What if I told you that the secret to generational wealth isn't just money, it's training? The dynasties of old money don't rely on luck or talent alone. They raise their children with precision, almost like an art form, turning toddlers into polished heirs and heiresses, ready to step seamlessly into a world of privilege, power, and influence. And here's the thing, you don't have to be a Rockefeller or a Rothschild to learn from their playbook. In this video, we'll peel back the curtain on how old money grooms its next generation, from the cradle to the boardroom, and why these methods keep their families wealthy for centuries. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, because here on the Luxury Lane, we reveal the strategies, secrets, and untold stories of the world's elite. For old money families, the grooming process begins astonishingly early, often before a child can even walk. The nursery is not just a place filled with toys and lullabies, it is the first classroom of the elite. Nannies in these households are carefully selected, not simply for childcare skills, but for refinement. Many come from backgrounds in early education, etiquette, or even aristocratic circles themselves. Their role is not merely to care for the child, but to shape them. From posture correction to language exposure, even small habits are enforced deliberately. Children are often introduced to multiple languages by the time they're toddlers. French, German, or Mandarin aren't taught for novelty. They're taught because they are the languages of diplomacy, finance, and international business. By the time a child enters formal schooling, they already have a head start in global communication. Music and art lessons are not casual extracurriculars. They are cultural investments. Playing the piano, mastering the violin, or appreciating fine art trains the mind in discipline, patience, and cultural literacy. These aren't hobbies. They are status markers that signal refinement to future peers in elite social circles. Even bedtime stories serve a purpose. Instead of only fairy tales, children are often read historical biographies or classics, subtly instilling an awareness of heritage, legacy, and moral values tied to responsibility and leadership. When old money children are ready for school, the institutions they attend are chosen with surgical precision. Prep schools, boarding schools, and Ivy League universities are not just about academics. They are pipelines into networks that last a lifetime. Take, for example, Eton in the UK, or Phillips Exeter Academy in the US. These schools aren't only producing scholars, they are producing future leaders of finance, politics, and society. Alumni networks stretch like golden webs across industries, ensuring that classmates turn into business partners, trustees, or even political allies decades later. Discipline, dress codes, and extracurriculars are not arbitrary rules. They are rehearsals for the real world of high society, where image and connections often matter more than raw intelligence. Old money knows this, and so their children learn early that reputation is currency. Another subtle element, these schools often emphasize tradition. By living in environments steeped in rituals, uniforms, and historical prestige, children internalize the idea that they are custodians of something larger than themselves. This is one of old money's most powerful psychological tools, embedding the belief that wealth is not only privilege, but also duty. If the classroom builds knowledge, then the drawing room builds confidence. Social grooming begins in childhood dinner parties, charity galas, and holiday gatherings, where young heirs and heiresses are expected to perform. They are taught how to converse with adults, how to handle introductions, and how to practice the fine art of small talk. By the time they are teenagers, many can navigate a conversation with a CEO or diplomat more gracefully than most adults. Children of old money are also often paired with mentors, sometimes distant relatives, godparents, or trusted family friends, who guide them through the subtleties of high society. These mentors introduce them to networks long before they ever step into the workforce. Vacations are not simply leisure, they are strategic. A family trip to the south of France or Gstaad is often more about mingling with other dynasties than sunbathing. Kids learn by osmosis how to behave in these rarefied settings, building comfort in environments that may feel intimidating to outsiders. By the time these children reach young adulthood, they already possess a resume of cultural exposure, social skills, and personal branding that sets them apart. They are not just rich, they are polished. Here's where old money really separates itself from new wealth. While the nouveau riche may throw their children into the family business with little preparation, old money carefully orchestrates a soft launch into adulthood. Internships, often secured through connections, are presented as experience, but they are carefully curated stepping stones into elite industries: finance, law, diplomacy, or philanthropy. These aren't just jobs. They are rehearsals for leadership. Philanthropic involvement is another key element. Young adults are often given a seat on charity boards or encouraged to volunteer in highly visible roles. This isn't about altruism alone. It's about being seen as responsible custodians of wealth. Old money families know that public perception can make or break a dynasty. By guiding their children into philanthropy early, they signal continuity, stability, and noblesse oblige. For most people, networking is a skill learned in adulthood. Attending conferences, exchanging business cards, and hoping for opportunities. For old money, however, networking is not learned. It is inherited. Children of elite families are exposed to networks before they even realize it. Family friends aren't just companions, they're CEOs, senators, or royalty. A birthday party guest list might read like a Forbes ranking. By the time these children are old enough to drive, they already know people who could open doors at the highest levels of business and politics. Old money families also stage introductions strategically. A teenager might, coincidentally, be seated next to a banking magnate during a family dinner, or invited to shadow a relative at a diplomatic function. These orchestrated moments are designed to build familiarity with powerful circles. But here's the deeper secret. Networking isn't just about who you know, it's about who knows you. Old money grooms children to make impressions early, ensuring that by adulthood, their names already carry recognition in elite spaces. In the modern age, marriage is often framed as a personal choice. In old money circles, while love is acknowledged, marriage still carries the weight of strategy. From finishing schools to debutante balls, the social calendar for young heirs and heiresses has historically served as a matchmaking arena. The purpose is not just romance, it's the consolidation of influence. By uniting two wealthy families, fortunes are preserved, businesses merge, and social capital multiplies. Even today, while arranged marriages may sound archaic, subtle social engineering persists. Parents introduce their children to appropriate matches during holidays in St. Moritz or summers in the Hamptons. Exclusive clubs, yacht parties, and charity auctions double as marriage markets, where the next generation of dynasties quietly link their legacies. Why does this matter? Because for old money, marriage isn't just about companionship, it's about continuity. The union ensures that the next generation inherits not just money, but multiplying networks of power. By the time old money heirs graduate from elite universities, their careers are less about job hunting and more about placement. They don't simply find careers, they are placed into them. Take, for example, a young Rockefeller entering the world of finance. They may start as an analyst at a prestigious investment bank. But unlike an ordinary intern, they enter under the wing of mentors who are already allies of the family. Their mistakes are forgiven, their strengths are showcased, and their rise is accelerated. This isn't favoritism, it's calculated grooming. Old money understands that credibility matters. A young heir must not look entitled, they must appear capable. By ensuring their children earn their stripes in visible but controlled environments, old money carefully balances privilege with perceived merit. Philanthropy again plays a role here. Many heirs are encouraged to lead charitable foundations early in their careers. This move accomplishes two goals. It creates a safe leadership sandbox, while also reinforcing the family's image as benevolent stewards of wealth. What separates old money from new isn't just financial security, it's restraint. Generational families know that flashy displays can breed envy, while quiet influence secures longevity. From an early age, children are taught the subtle code of old money. Speak less, listen more. Understate wealth, overstate responsibility. Never flaunt possessions. Let legacy speak louder than luxury. This conditioning isn't accidental, it's survival. Families that fail to instill these values often burn out within a generation or two, falling victim to scandal, overspending, or public backlash. Old money grooms its heirs not to chase fame but to wield influence silently. Even in an Instagram age where showing off is currency, many heirs are discouraged from oversharing. Their presence online is often muted, if not invisible, preserving mystique and protecting privacy. For these families, obscurity is often more valuable than celebrity. Eventually, the final stage of grooming arrives, the transfer of responsibility. This may come in the form of a board seat, a controlling interest in a company, or stewardship of a family trust. But here's the twist. Old money doesn't dump responsibility all at once. It is transferred gradually, often over decades. An heir might first oversee a small portfolio, then a division of a business, and eventually the entire empire. This slow transition ensures competence and reduces the risk of catastrophic mistakes. At the same time, elders remain advisors. Patriarchs and matriarchs never fully step away until they are certain the next generation is prepared. The process resembles an apprenticeship more than an inheritance. This is why old money dynasties often survive for centuries. They don't simply pass wealth, they pass training, networks, and a philosophy of continuity. So why does all of this work so well for old money? Because wealth without wisdom evaporates. Countless lottery winners, celebrities, and new money entrepreneurs have lost fortunes within a single generation. Old money, on the other hand, treats wealth like a relay race. Each generation runs its lap, hands over the baton, and ensures the next runner is trained for speed and endurance. The system is not perfect. Scandals still happen. Heirs still rebel. But the structure of grooming, education, and networking cushions the family legacy against total collapse. For old money, the true inheritance isn't the mansion, the trust fund, or the art collection. It's the roadmap. A roadmap that begins in the nursery, extends into elite networks, and ends in the boardrooms and embassies of the world. And that roadmap has one goal: to make sure the family name outlives the family fortune. To see this grooming process in motion, let's take a generational example. Consider the Rothschilds of Europe or the Rockefellers in America. Their empires didn't endure simply because of money. It was the systems they built around their heirs. John D. Rockefeller didn't just leave his children oil money. He left them the responsibilities. Each generation was entrusted with leadership positions in philanthropy, business, and banking, ensuring they carried not just the fortune, but the family image of influence. The Rothschild family did the same, spreading their children across Europe in carefully planned banking branches. Each heir became both independent and interdependent, creating a web of power that could withstand political upheavals and market crashes. These families illustrate the blueprint we've been exploring. Nurture, educate, socialize, mentor, network, and slowly pass the torch. It's not chance, it's choreography. But while this system may look polished from the outside, it comes with immense pressure on the inside. For every heir raised to lead, there is an unspoken weight. Do not be the one to break the chain. Old money heirs often struggle with identity, independence, and the heavy expectations of legacy. To the world, they are symbols of privilege. But within their circles, they are also caretakers of centuries of sacrifice, discipline, and accumulated influence. This is why many are trained not just in academics and networking, but also in resilience. Tutors, coaches, and family elders constantly reinforce one principle: wealth is fragile, reputation is priceless, and both can vanish in a single reckless generation. Here's the fascinating part. While most people will never inherit vast estates or control multinational businesses, the principles of old money grooming can still apply in everyday life. Start early. Habits formed in childhood often shape entire lives. Exposure to culture, discipline, and responsibility matters more than luxury toys. Value networks. Building authentic relationships creates opportunities that money alone cannot buy. Play the long game. Old money never thinks in terms of one generation. They think in terms of 5. Decisions are weighed not just for profit, but for legacy. Practice restraint. Quiet confidence, cultural literacy, and discretion often build more trust than loud displays of wealth. In short, the strategies of old money aren't just about protecting fortunes. They're about cultivating resilience, responsibility, and influence across time. From the nursery, toys chosen with purpose, to the prep schools that double as power pipelines, to the dinner parties where children learn to charm titans of industry, all the way to the carefully staged handoff of billion-dollar empires. Old money proves one thing: wealth isn't preserved by money alone. It's preserved by training. A system of grooming that transforms privilege into power and heirs into institutions. And this system, quiet, relentless, and often invisible, is the very reason their names still dominate our banks, our politics, and our boardrooms today. Because for old money, the nursery isn't just the beginning of childhood. It's the beginning of dynasty.